Have you ever heard of a war against birds? It sounds like a plot for a fantastical tale, doesn't it? But in the pages of Australian history, this is no mere fiction. The year was 1932, a time of economic hardship accentuated by the Great Depression. Farmers in Western Australia were staring down a peculiar crisis. A seemingly unstoppable army of emus, a flightless bird native to Australia, had descended upon their lands, laying waste to their precious crops. The farmers, desperate and beleaguered, appealed to the government for help. In response to this unusual plea, the Australian government made an even more unusual decision: to deploy the military. Soldiers, armed to the teeth, were assigned the task of controlling this feathered menace. It was a decision that would lead to an unexpected chapter in the country's history, a conflict that would come to be known as the Great Emu War. And so, the stage was set for one of the most peculiar wars in history. The Australian military was prepared for battle, but their enemy was not what you might expect. The soldiers, armed to the teeth with machine guns, were not dispatched to confront a foreign power, but rather a feathered foe, the emus. In the vast expanses of Western Australia, these military men found themselves in an unusual predicament, tasked with controlling the emu population that was wreaking havoc on local farms. However, the emus proved to be more than just a flock of birds. These creatures, surprisingly agile and clever, were adept at evading the soldiers' efforts. Despite the firepower at their disposal, the military faced unexpected hurdles. Imagine this: a soldier, machine gun in hand, chasing after a fast, zigzagging emu. It's almost comical, isn't it? Yet this was the reality of the Great Emu War. As the battle raged on, it became clear that this was no ordinary conflict. These emus, it seemed, were not just birds. They were formidable opponents. The Great Emu War, as it came to be known, did not last long, but its legacy endures. This peculiar conflict, a skirmish between man and bird, has etched itself into the pages of Australian history. It serves as an example to the unexpected challenges that can arise when humans and wildlife cross paths, particularly in a land as diverse and unique as Australia. In the immediate aftermath, the war was considered a failure. The emu population, while dented, was far from decimated. Yet, as the dust settled, the lessons that emerged from this unusual conflict were profound. The emus, in their resilience and tenacity, became symbols of the rugged Australian outback, proof of the invincible spirit of nature. This war also underscored the challenges of managing human-wildlife conflict. The emus were not the enemy, but a part of the delicate ecological balance of the Australian landscape. They were creatures driven by their instinct to survive, just as the farmers were driven by their need to protect their crops. The Great Emu War was a stark reminder of the need for coexistence, for finding a balance between the needs of humans and the rights of wildlife. Over time, the Great Emu War has taken on a life of its own in popular culture and folklore. It's been the subject of songs, books, and even a musical. Its absurdity, its uniqueness, has made it an enduring symbol of the unexpected turns that history can take. The emus, these seemingly ordinary birds, managed to defy the might of a military force, and in doing so, they became symbols of resilience, of survival. They are a reminder of the challenges that come with living in harmony with nature, of the need to respect and protect the wildlife that shares our world.